From the home of the hot rod, Tacoma, Washington, it's time to go cruising northwest. Brought to you in part by Walker Chevrolet, the home of the heartbeat of America. Chevrolet for 1988. See it at Walker Chevrolet, 633 Division Avenue on the Park in Tacoma. And now here's your host, Dick Hayes.
Hi, welcome to Cruzin Northwest. We have kind of a different show for you today. We're here in my garage. And if any of you have ever been in my garage, you know this is probably the cleanest my garage has ever been. We have a special honor today. I want to share with you. Dave Bell, in the April issue of Street Rodder magazine, has featured Rock on the Dock in his cartoon. And that's really an honor because this magazine is a world-class magazine. Dave Bell only covers usually the largest events. And we're very proud of this, and we want to thank Dave Bell and everybody responsible, Walker Chevrolet and KVI. Everybody got mentioned here, and we really appreciate it, David Bell. One of the subjects that we're going to cover today in our show is young people's involvement in the sport. A lot of people ask me where the young blood's coming from, where the young people are coming up. A lot of father and son teams, a lot of families involved in street rodding. We're going to show you some examples today. A little later, we're going to go out to Barry Jensen's house and see what he's doing on his 57 Chevy. We're going to go to Dave Shepherdson's house and see his son Michael's truck. My son Chad got into this at a very early age, obviously. 4.5 years old in this picture, his first ride in a quarter midget. This is the quarter midget that he campaigned at that time, and now he has this truck. It's a 51 Ford pickup truck. Chad picked this up a couple of years ago, and this has been a long project. It's a real serious undertaking to do something like this, and the idea behind customizing, in case you didn't know, isn't just to make something different. The frame has been Z'd in the front 4 inches to drop the cab down. It's been recontoured to make it more graceful. Has a complete Mustang 2 front suspension in it, same as Pinot. And one nice thing about these Mustang 2 front suspensions, if you want to change and put 5-lug wheels on, you can actually use 2-piece Chevelle type rotors on it. Early Chevelle 2-piece rotors will fit right on the Mustang 2 spindles with just a wheel bearing swap. You look in the interchange book, find out what wheel bearings fit, and the whole works just bolts all together with all stock wrecking yard parts. Makes a nice conversion. On this truck, we actually widened the frame 1 inch on the inside so that it could be narrowed 5 inches on the outside, so the stock Mustang 2 front suspension just slip right in. That way you don't run into any problems with the rack and pinion steering. Everything works just like Henry intended. Chad did most of the work on this truck himself. In fact, he gets to do all the hard work. He learned how to acetylene weld, how to use a wire feed welder, and he's learned a lot. He's sanded a lot of Bondo and done a lot of filing. We cut the back window on this truck down only 1.5 inches compared to the 4-inch chop on the rest of it. So these trucks have a real small back window to start with. And like I said, the idea here is not to make it look like an oddball or anything radical, just to improve the style and the grace of it, make it look more streamlined, give it a little bit of that competition look. This truck sits pretty low. The Mustang 2 suspension does a good job, and actually we Z'd the frame in the back also to drop the back of it down another 4 inches. The rear end in this truck is going to be a Ford 9-inch rear end. We've got a complete Art Morrison rear suspension system. We've sectioned the hood 2 inches by raising the front fenders 2 inches. This truck's really home built. This is going to be a competition street, almost a race car style. This is a competition look pro street. This is very popular nowadays, and for young people to get into the sport and get in on the new trends and everything, I think is really a fine thing. This is not the old lead sled type custom chop channel truck that you used to see in the old days, but it's a new lightweight high performance look, and that's really hot. And Mr. Gasket Company with their Rodware line of accessories that they have in the auto parts stores nowadays has gotten behind that, and all the big NSRA events all around the United States are going to feature Mr. Gasket Rodware Awards for the under 21 division, and that's really a fine thing. Now we're going to stop for a commercial message from our friends Gary and Kathy Overby out of Meridian Collision Center. When we be back, we'll be back at Barry Jensen's house to look at his 57 Chevy. Don't go away.
Quality collision repairs. Meridian Collision Center has the latest in bench systems and the largest in truck systems. With over 16 years experience at one location, we have the knowledge to repair it all. Our laser alignment system sets front and rear end alignment to better than factory specifications. Finishes are skillfully matched in the largest paint rooms in the area. A top quality repair job is insured with a 3-year written warranty on workmanship. Let Meridian Collision Center straighten you out.
Each department in 1987 contributed to our great success at Walker Chevrolet. Now we need to go into 1988 with a more aggressive and positive way.
88's looking real good. We put a lot of miles on the courtesy van, 87, and we're going to put a lot more on it for 88.
I'm really pleased with our personnel. I think that's the most important part of our store. That is the big asset of our dealership, the people we have working there.
Walker Chevrolet, inconveniently located at 633 Division Avenue, Tacoma, but well worth finding.
All right, cruisers, you did it. We got it through. We got it through the House. We got it through the Senate Transportation Committee. And everybody that's involved in this, Mr. Paul Zelensky, and everybody that put 3 years of effort in this, we want to thank everybody. All it requires now to have our fair weather fender law is just the signature of the governor. Don't let us down, Governor. And if you'd like to be a part of it all, send us a self-addressed stamped envelope for your free copy of the NSRA Rod Run schedule. That's Cruzin Northwest, 424 Broadway, Tacoma, Washington, 98402. The Oldtimers Northwest presents the 7th Annual Hot Rod and Custom Car Show, March 11th, 12th, and 13th at the new Kitsap County Pavilion. That's at the Kitsap County Fairgrounds, just north of Bremen in Silverdale, Washington. They're going to feature Mindy Fry in her world's fastest street rod, and you gotta see Gene Berkman's 294-mile-an-hour chopped V210 Datsun. So this is the Oldtimers' big show of the year. Don't miss it. And as promised, our first young person of the day is Barry Jensen. Barry and I have to let you know right off the bat, Barry and I work together at Lacquer Distributors, just like it says right here. And yes, we do sell McGuire's products. That's blatantly commercial enough, isn't it, Barry?
Sure, why not?
And we spend 8 hours a day together selling paint and products to people, and Barry has this 57 Chevy convertible here. This is not your first 57 Chevy. You've had one before. Tell us about your other car, Bear.
Well, I got my first one when I was 13 years old, and I finally got to drive it when I was a junior in high school. And I drove it for 4 years after that until somebody offered me a lot of money for it. And now I got this convertible. We're starting all over again.
We're going to be in big trouble if we don't mention Ronnie Barker's name. Ronnie Barker bought the 57 from Barry. Barry used the funds from that to purchase this 57 convertible in great disarray. And a project like this can be just overwhelming. This is a huge project to undertake for anybody. I'm really pleased to see so many young people doing cars nowadays. It means that this sport's going to be around for a long time. And Barry's done one thing here that makes a lot of sense. He's kept a scrapbook. You've kept a virtual pictorial history of everything you've done to this car.
Well, we got the car last August, and we started out by taking all the chrome bumpers and everything off. And then we started stripping the car. And fortunately, it had factory paint on it, so a lot of it came off real easily. Then we started in with the hard stuff, all the hard parts, took the body off the frame, repaired the floors, and just kept going. The car had been sitting 15 years when I got it, so had a lot of rust. Brakes were all froze up. Everything was pretty much gone. All the interior had to buy new interior and everything.
Tell us about the reproduction parts that are available nowadays. We've got some pictures here in your scrapbook of some of the bits and pieces. These come from one single source, or did you have to order out of a lot of catalogs?
Most of them came from 2 or 3 sources. There's a guy locally I get a lot of parts from. I ordered some from Dan Chuck in California. And almost all of them, all the reproduction parts fit real well. Fortunately, I just needed chrome pieces and interior pieces to complete it.
Well, I'm really impressed with your scrapbook, Bear. This is a wonderful thing to do, and I'd recommend anybody that's going to undertake a major project like this to keep a pictorial record. A scrapbook like this is, well, it's amazing is what it is, to see the amount of work that you go through on a car like this. It's nice to have a permanent record of it. Even when the car's down the road, you still got a record of what you went through.
Well, on my last car, everybody wanted to know what it looked like before we started, and I didn't have anything. I had a few pictures when it was stripped, a few when it was painted without chrome on it. Everybody wanted to know how it got there, because I did it with little or no money over the last 8 years. And this one, now that I had the money from my other one, I've gone through the whole thing.
Well, you've done a fine job here, Barry, and taking this car down to bare metal is definitely the correct way to do it. One thing that a lot of people want to know about is the economics of doing a project like this. And take my word for it, a car can be as expensive or as inexpensive as you would like it to be. I've got about $2,500 in my 32 Ford sedan, and most of the cars you see in big rod runs are home-built cars. Not all the cars are professionally built cars. Some of them are high-dollar rides, cars that cost $50,000, $60,000, and sometimes even more. Rick Pop out of Antique got a call the other day from a guy that was complaining that a local rod shop back east had quoted him $65,000 to build a 32 Ford 3-window coupe, didn't even have fenders on it. Well, rest assured, you can build a car for a lot less than that. The car you see on the screen here, these are perfect examples of mostly home-built cars, local rod-run cars. A lot of young people go to these events and get themselves all fired up seeing these cars, and that's the way it should be. And don't be discouraged by the high prices you hear. Well, when we come back, we're going to learn something about metal stripping, but first, we're going to have a viewer car. Viewer car is Bob Jasper's car, 49 Olds Club Coupe. We actually sawed the top off this baby out in my old shop out in Parkland, Washington, made it into a convertible. It was a convertible for a while, then it got a 55 Chevy hardtop welded on later. Car's long gone now, but a lot of memories.
Back by popular demand. The greatest rock and roll offer from the 50s, 60s, and early 70s. Those fabulous hits by the original artists. No, you still don't need your credit card, check, or money order to take advantage of this incredible offer. The golden era of rock and roll, absolutely free, 24 hours a day. Only from Seattle's oldie station, KVI 570 AM.
Carol.
Tom.
Some people still don't realize how space technology benefits everyone.
Well, you've played a detective. Why don't you give them a clue, and I'll be your helper.
Okay, partner. Look at this.
Without warning, hurricanes can take a huge toll in lives and property.
But with space satellites, we now have ample warnings.
And thousands of lives have been saved.
Hey, Carol, we're a great team.
We're a great item.
Space technology.
This is what's in it for you.
The people who live in Alaska know of its beauty, its wilderness, and its dangers. Dave Pearson is one of them.
I just heard a noise off to my side, and I looked, and there was a bear coming at me.
We received a call about 11:45 that a man had been mauled by a bear.
Medical technician Chris Brown of the U.S. Coast Guard knows Alaska, too.
We went out on the helicopter. It took us about, I guess, 5 minutes to arrive on scene.
Even before Alaska became a part of the United States, the Coast Guard was there, breaking the ice, charting the waters, and saving lives.
We decided to go ahead and tell him we didn't want him moving around. We're going to carry you out, and that's what we did.
I was never so glad to see the Coast Guard in my life.
You'll hear stories like Dave Pearson's all over Alaska. They're not all sea stories either.
Those guys earn their pay, that's for sure.
Southeast Alaska, just one of the coasts we guard. Find out more about the Coast Guard and Coast Guard Reserve. Call toll-free.
Back here at Barry Jensen's house, and we're going to tell you a little bit about metal preparation and primer application as done on his 57 Chevy convertible. Barry, you want to tell us a little bit about how you strip the paint off this stock 57 Chevy fender?
Well, since it had factory lacquer on it, we ended up taking off most of the paint with just lacquer thinner itself. It pretty much wrinkled it and scraped it right off. Then from there, we went on to a little bit of paint remover in the tough spots, got that off. Then we sandblasted all of the hard-to-get portions where there was good paint buildup and grease and what have you.
I want to mention one thing here. When you use paint remover, you do have to use it outdoors in well-ventilated areas, and there are no respirators, except, of course, an air-fed respirator that will protect you from the fumes from paint remover. So it is important, if you're going to use this product at home, to do it in a well-ventilated area. And when it comes to sandblasting, you want to be careful with sandblasting. You want to make sure that it's done with a low-pressure sandblaster with very fine sand. High-pressure blasters and large industrial-type grit can warp parts beyond repair, not to mention the work hardening that goes on. And lacquer removing solvent will strip factory lacquer finishes, but they won't touch the urethane finishes or anything like that. So you do have to use a paint remover on a lot of finishes. Lacquer removing solvent works sometimes. And what'd you do next, Bear?
Well, after we got it prepped, we de-ate it down with 240, got it all smooth, and went from there. And from there, we used an epoxy primer over the top on the pieces that didn't need any body work.
Now, normally, you would metal etch parts, and a metal etch is a chemical compound that provides a coating, a waterproof coating on the metal parts. Now, the DP40 is waterproof because it is epoxy. In fact, it's so waterproof that if you're working on a long-term project, something that's going to sit outside a long time, you can actually strip a card of bare metal, DP40 it, shove that baby out in the rain for 5 years and bring it in and start in it on it again. and there will be no rust underneath it. And one nice thing about the DP40 is that it actually sticks to the bare metal better than the Bondo, and the Bondo, or body plastic filler, will stick to the DP40 better than it does to the bare metal itself. So yes, you can seal the whole car in with DP40. You can do the actual body work right over the top of the DP40. Then, of course, you can seal the body putty in with more DP40, which makes it very, very waterproof. An excellent way to go.
And then from there, we got the catalyzed primer, which is a fast-build epoxy primer that sands real easily. It has to be wet sanded.
This particular one that we're referring to is the yellow primer that you see here on the screen on the louvered hood, and that's the K200. That's also a Ditzler product, same as the DP40, and that's a urethane type primer. Now, I want to warn you about that. If you're working with a urethane primer, you must have adequate ventilation, and you have to have some type of an approved respirator system, because this is very powerful stuff, but boy, it is good. It is absolutely no shrinkage at all. Wonderful product. It's very, very good. It's like almost like spraying body putty out of a spray gun. This is a hood that Barry and I let it in, filled in, capped over the gun sights on, and he had louvered. This will be an optional hood on this particular 57 Chevy. He's going to have a stock hood, stock wheels, tires, hubcaps, and also a set of mag wheels that he's going to run on the car occasionally. You're going to have a quick change car.
Yeah, so we can go out Friday nights and listen to everybody tell me how I ruined a good stock car, and then come back Saturday morning and make it stock again.
A quick change car. Okay, Bear. Well, this is a fine project that you've got here. I want to thank you for talking with us here today. And we'll see you Monday morning at Lacquer Distributors, I'm sure. And we're going to have a viewer car now that you're going to see, which is also a convertible. And it's Dick Calavota's Pontiac convertible. This picture is taken in about 1959 or 60 at Tacoma Motorama by me. And Dick Calavota is the famous NDRA racer now.
I love to work out. I like my body to be perfect. That's because I lead an active social life. I want to look good. But no matter what shape you're in, anyone can get the AIDS virus. And one workout that can protect you from the AIDS virus is not to take risks when it comes to sex.
Find out what kind of behavior puts you at risk. Call your local AIDS hotline or 1-800-342-AIDS.
I kept telling my kid brother, get an education, go to college like me. What's he do? Signs up with the Coast Guard Reserve. He wanted to be a mechanic, so now the Reserve's paying him to learn. Then he says the Reserve can help me. I mean, learning a skill on top of my degree, even qualify for tuition aid under the new Reserve GI Bill. Guess what? The Coast Guard Reserve fits me, too.
The Coast Guard Reserve. Find out more. Call 800-424-8883.
I've never been shy about my liberal views.
And I've never been bashful about my conservative opinions.
But there's one thing we're in the middle of the same road on.
The benefits of space research.
For everyone.
One example is a remarkable new treatment for bone marrow cancer, now in test. Tiny synthetic particles called microspheres, which seek out and stick only to cancer cells, are injected into the patient's bone marrow.
When placed between two magnets, the cancer cells actually separate, leaving only healthy cells.
The patient then receives the cancer-free marrow back.
Research for this technique began in space laboratories. They're hoping it will lead to other new cancer treatments, even more effective than radiation and chemotherapy.
Practical, down-to-earth applications of space research like this now number in the thousands, and that's a conservative estimate.
One I liberally endorse. Space technology.
This is what's in it for you.
How about that? The magic of television. Here we are with the Oldtimers. All of a sudden, it's midnight. Look at them being so quiet, I can't believe it.
Sure, glad to be here.
Sure is glad to be here.
Sure.
We're going to tell you a little bit about the Silverdale Car Show that's coming up. And Ron?
Well, this is our 7th annual one, Dick, and we're at the new Kitsap County Pavilion. You'll see people with waxed heads and waxed cars.
Come over here, Terry. Tell us a little bit about, get over here. Tell us a little bit about some of the people that are going to be there.
We're bringing up Mindy Fry from the Bay Area, California, with her 27T owned by Tom Boswell. And Mindy's the world's fastest teenager in that particular car. But she just broke a new record in her dad's new AA alcohol dragster at 615 ET at 219 miles an hour. We've also got Gene Berkland coming out from Great Falls, Montana with what is billed as the world's fastest Datsun. This is a Bonneville car, fully streamlined, that runs the salt flats at 294 miles an hour. And also, this is the last time that we'll have a chance to see Herm Peterson's dragster, which is an old famous dragster from the Northwest. It's on its way to Don Garlitz's museum down in Florida. So this will be the last time Northwesterners will have a chance to see it close to home.
Well, great. That pretty well covers the race cars. What about the street rods, Ron?
Well, we have good old Freddie Farkle Coonsey, you know, with a typical Northwest street rod.
You just give me a heart attack.
I know that. Why? You thought I was going to say something bad, didn't you? We're going to have, hopefully, Mr. Lucas's brand new orange fat-fendered Ford, along with George Martin's little fresh squeezed delivery. We'll just have a lot of nice street rods there, and a few customs, too. We don't want to tell everybody that's going to be there. They got to come find out.
Speaking of George Martin, George managed to get not only a car that he drives in this April edition of Street Rodder magazine, but you also got a car you haven't even built yet. I want to know how you did that, George.
Well, I think I got a surprise for you. I'm driving that car to Bremerton.
You are? What color is it?
It's light cream with dark green insert.
Well, I messed up. I colored the picture and I made it yellow.
That's all right. Life's full of surprises.
All right, you guys, get over here. Come on. I want everybody to come over here. Come on, gather around.
Get in there, John.
Come on. Oh, I'm sorry, John. I didn't mean to knock you out.
Watch it there.
I want you to talk these people into coming to the car show next weekend in Silverdale. Go, Ed Davenport. Ed's the president of the club. Come on, Prez. All right. Mr. Prez, talk him into it. Next weekend.
Okay, everybody
Silverdale
should show up. We're going to have 108 cars. Any of you that have ever seen this activity before, it's been a great time. Going to have a lot of vendors. You're not going to miss anything, because every car that's really, really nice is going to be there.
And all of Leroy's cousins.
You can't have all of Leroy's because there isn't enough room down there for that. All right, we've been watching a little bit of footage here of some of the cars that were there last year, both cars on the parking lot and cars inside the building. We should mention that this year the show is not going to be in the same building that you see them on the screen at this time. It is going to be in a building that's a brand new building, which I must admit I have not seen yet. Ron, you want to describe the new building?
Sure. It has heat, lights.
Oh, no.
Indoor, no rain, 36,000 square feet on the main floor. It's absolutely beautiful. Lots of lights.
Lots of light. Nice. That's very important if you're trying to look at cars and videotape a car show. Well, thank you very much, old timers. Say goodbye to the folks. Bye, Mom.
Hey, cruisers, there's a new place at Cruzin Saturday night, the Sportsman Cafe and Lounge in Lakewood, featuring DJ Walt Kaplan spinning all your favorites. Take the McCord exit 1 block north on Bridgeport Way. So come on out and cruise the Sportsman.
You cars, if you're 54 or older, you're obsolete. Don't have to be. Come up to date with rack and pinion steering, disc brakes, power assists. Do it with a prepackaged bolt-in front-end kit designed expressly for 37 to 54 Chevy passenger cars by RB's Obsolete Automotive in Snohomish. Do it all yourself with manual home tools at half the cost of a standard rebuild, and enjoy a safe, comfortable ride with modern replaceable parts in a kit from RB's Obsolete Automotive. Hey, cruisers, get the news. Get Cruzin on video. Full 1-hour versions of each of our Cruzin shows in VHS or beta. More than 40 different programs, more on the way every day. All the color and action from the rod runs, the classic events, and vintage shows. Professionally produced for TV throughout the Northwest and Canada. So look for us. The entire Cruzin Northwest home video library is available at these sponsors. So get Cruzin and enjoy.
Winning is a reason to celebrate. Losing, an excuse to forget. No matter how you feel, SAD wants you to live, to experience all the feelings life offers. I'm Willie Nash from SAD, Students Against Driving Drunk. I care about my friends. I don't drink and drive. In fact, I don't do any illegal drugs. I don't have to.
We're winning the battle against teenage drinking and driving, but we still need your help.
Litter. It's simply unbearable.
The U.S. Department of the Interior invites you to
send for your free Take Pride in America kit.
Right. Take pride. Jessup, Maryland. 20794. Help support our litter critters.
You know, we really do get a huge volume of mail here at the show, and I want to thank everybody for writing in, especially for sending in your pictures and your literature on your rod runs and car shows and things. And throughout the year, we'll be using as much of that as we can. Unfortunately, we can't answer all the questions that all the people send us in all the letters, and I apologize for that, but from time to time, something comes up that we just have to make a remark on. I have a letter here from our friend Soupy. That's Gary Soupy Campbell. Gary says he saw the show that we did with the picture from the old Dragons Car Club, and he recognized the kid in the corner with the butch haircut and the big floppy ears sticking out as being himself. He just about fell over when he saw the picture. And he makes reference in his letter here to the 55 Ford that he had that was painted white with the Lonely One written on the side in red, a louvered hood, tube grill, lowered suspension and everything. Well, I remember that car very well, and the pictures that you're seeing on the screen right now are Gary Campbell and his 55 Ford, the Lonely One. Gary and I used to be in a car club together when at least I was in high school. I think Gary was probably a lot older than I am. So we're going to close with that right now. I just wanted to let everybody know that we really appreciate the letters. Thank you very much, and keep them up. Don't give up just because we don't answer them all. Enough about us old-timers. Now we're going to go see what a young man is doing on his very first project. 15-year-old Michael Shepherdson. All right, as promised, we're here at Dave Shepherdson's house. We heard from one of our old viewers, Soupy Campbell, and here's one of our young viewers. Come on over, Michael. Michael Shepherdson and Dave. Come on, Dave, get over here. Dave's got on a t-shirt that says, "If I can't do it, it can't be done." What we're talking about here is what year are we calling this truck now?
We're going to call it 48 this year.
This is some of the remains of a truck that I used to have, and young Michael is what, 15 now?
Yeah, I'm 15. Going to be 16 in March.
And this will be your first car and or hot rod?
Yes, it will be my first car and hot rod.
And one of the things we wanted to share with you, this show, in case you guys don't know yet, we're talking about young people and the cars that they're building and young people getting involved in the sport and hobby. And we want to give a few tips, and one of the main tips that I think is really important is if you want to update an old vehicle with modern suspension, steering, brakes, hey, the easiest way in the whole world, if it's a type of vehicle that will accept a transplant like this, is to put a Camaro, Nova, Chevelle type subframe, front frame clip on the vehicle, complete. And that's what you've done here, right, Dave?
Yeah, we used 71 Nova frame section because it looked like GM said this will fit an old Ford truck, so we'll build it. And it fits in no problem at all.
Well, let's pop the hood off it, and we'll try to give our viewers a closer look at what goes on with this subframe conversion. 71 Nova subframe in a 48 Ford pickup. Dave used tube headers. You're going to use the old Ford Court Sport. Come on over, Dave. I want to mention just one thing here under the oops column. Watch out for those power brake boosters. They get a little bit close to the valve cover sometimes. Dave's going to relocate this one so that it fits better. What major problems? Quickly, Dave, we've got about 30 seconds left.
Really, there's no problems at all putting this subframe in this truck. I mean, like I say, it slides right in, you weld it on, and you're done. It's that quick.
A nice, safe conversion. A good way to go. A good tip for all our young viewers. Well, we want to thank everybody that's been on the show today. We want to thank Mr. Dave Bell again for the cartoon that he did in the April issue of Street Rodder magazine. Thanks to the Oldtimers for letting us bust in on their meeting tonight. And I want to thank you for watching Cruzin Northwest. And we'll see you next week right here, same time, same station, for more Cruzin Northwest. Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Promotional consideration provided by J.D. Birds at 6th and Sprague in Tacoma. Chicken prepared the way it should be. Low fat and cholesterol free. Get the good bird at J.D. Birds. Cruzin is brought to you in part by Walker Chevrolet, the home of the heartbeat of America. See it at 633 Division Avenue on the Park in Tacoma. All right, Saturday on the Movie Matinee.